Hello everyone, welcome to a World of Warships Blitz video, and today's video is a tier 7 video with a destroyer killer, but this is the tier 7 tech tree Italian cruiser, the Zara. Now the Zara, it's good to have this video because this may be a slice of history, because I think with an upcoming patch or an upcoming update they are looking to make some changes, some balance corrections to the Zara, which is definitely required, because the Zara is probably one of the most overpowered ships at tier 7. Well, it's not overpowered against battleships, but it's pretty overpowered against anything that's less than a battleship. And certainly when I come up against these things in the Fiji, there is very little I can do to deal with it, because it's basically its armor profile is pretty powerful. Its guns are absolutely ferocious. Yeah, and they have extremely accurate long-range guns, so yeah, I mean, maybe it is a good choice against the Fiji, but it does seem to struggle just a little bit too much, and particularly with the armor, you get good hits on it and you get a lot of bounces, and it is just a cruiser. So yeah, go figure. Anyway, as you can see, it's doing absolutely great wrecking ball job on that Bajoni with our first Citadel. What we're doing here is, well, we're going in reverse, which seems to be fooling him. That's good. Someone else has taken down the Bajoni. There's the Hatsuharu, and we're going to start getting some movement on. And as you can see, something like a Fiji in this situation would have been absolutely trashed. And the Zara, well, we've lost a lot of health, but not more than we can heal back. There goes the Hatsuharu, shells out into the smoke, and boom, there you go. That's the advantage of SAP. So now we've got the York. So believe it or not, I'm actually trying to play for missions, which is playing battles. I need 25, and this should be the 25th, but also I'm looking for 2 modules damaged in a game. Just because that's the tail end of the daily missions, and I've got one of those modules done already on the Colorado, and we are basically going out there and seeing if we can get more modules knocked off. So we're probably playing a little bit fast and loose, but the Zara is pretty tough, so it can probably take it. There goes King George V, which, to be fair, of all the ships that are in the game, the Colorado was probably the most armoured and the most difficult. The King George V is a little bit soft, being a British battleship and being a rather ordinary British battleship at that. So he's firing HE, which is nice. So I'm going to see whether or not I can get some major damage done against that. He's keeping his broadside on. He should probably be keeping his angling in, because he does have 6/10 of his gun, so 3/5 of his gun facing the front, and he could use the rear one sort of as an opportunity shot on something, one of our teammates that maybe is off to the side, rather than keeping a full broadside so that I can hammer him with the guns. Right, the King George V disappeared behind that iceberg, so we attack the York, and with the extremely long range and accurate guns of the Zara, we do absolutely, yeah, we do grievous damage to the York. They're combining, so really they're keeping this broadside onto us. We've got a broadside onto them. They're busy with my mate there, who's a little bit closer. And because he's a big battleship, they're obviously trying to deal with him first, which gives me a free rein and means that I don't get too badly hammered. That Colorado's coming around this side of the island, so when I get clear of the other side of the iceberg, I can expect a little bit more heat. He's obviously not brave enough to go through that gap, and neither would I, because although the torpedoes on the York are pretty short range, there's a lot of them and they're pretty hard hitting. Come around the other side of the island, and it's all on us. King George V gets taken from the other direction, and the York, well, he's fired his torpedoes. Believe it or not, German torpedoes are fairly short range, and I wouldn't have thought they would have made it that far, but they certainly did. And we're firing AP rather than SAP, because he is a fairly robust ship. Although, to be fair, maybe SAP might be the way to go. Certainly against King George V, SAP would not have probably been quite the right choice. Anyway, so the York, he is, well, he's got a bit of a problem. He's got his torpedoes off, It's a fairly big ask, but they don't seem to have taken my health off, so they must have just stopped just prior to the Zara there, which is lucky because that would have been quite a bruising. But as it is with the York, yeah, we're starting to hammer each other. Now, he's got quite a slow reload compared to me, but he has got harder hitting shells, but his shells really are best when he fires HE. We fire over the top of him. We've got the smoke. We're just trying to make sure that we just shave off the worst of that health. And our torpedo snags him for the kill. So there you go. There's the Zara. He's fired his torpedoes. They run in front of us because we'd slowed down. And yeah. So at this point, there is a battleship and an aircraft carrier. The aircraft carrier is up at the top corner. I think make himself pretty scarce. Maybe he's disappeared away from the keyboard in disgust and gone and made himself a cup of tea or something. Down to the south, the Colorado gets done in by our Colorado, meaning that I'm free to deal with the cap. I am keeping some forward movement so that I know he's not completely asleep at the wheel. He's bringing in some torpedo bombers. I'm not detected, although my smoke's coming back pretty quickly, so maybe if he was going for me, I could dodge long enough to get that smoker deployed, but as it turns out, he's going for one of the battleships, leaving me... I mean, the cap's pretty much lost anyway, leaving me to take the cap and the Battlestar. So that's the Zara. It's just seems to have everything, apart from HE, of course, but it's tanky. Its armor's pretty resilient. Its guns are phenomenal. They are heavy guns. I think they're 8-inch guns. So the AP, sure, you may not have HE, but with those sort of big calibers, you can punch through. As you can see, a ton of badges. Got my 2 modules damaged, which means that I'm one tiny fraction towards the goal. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. Thanks for watching.